Hello and good day. This is Chad over at Broshears, and I am continuing in the process of educating or giving people the worldviews that I have with the Maturity Project. It is something that we are creating that will be consumable, more so than just through videos. 8 different areas of maturity, every area we can develop in. So just development is so incredibly beneficial. There are so many tenets when it comes to development that I'm going to be exposing throughout this series. So I'm just going to continue on and reduce saying that, but just exposing. It's putting the sunlight on it, if you will. Skepticism. Being skeptical is a good thing. It actually has a great degree of benefit, and all decisions, should come with a degree of skepticism to ensure, even if it's your own internal ideas, be skeptical of what it is that you're thinking your way through. Find out if there's other things that could be present or something else that could be an outcome other than the attachment you have that is typically infused with emotional anchoring. Being credulous, credulity is beneficial in scenarios of large group organization, military, that kind of thing, but it has its downfalls too. So it's just interesting when you look at that, because those two are they're opposite sides of the coin of one another, credulity and skepticism. So what this series is all about is development and developing yourself. It's transformational education. And what I've realized is that we have so many people that are being developed or raised to be dependent on someone. And the first way to make somebody dependent is to make them dependent in the way they think. So they can't make decisions on their own, or the way they make decisions is through memorization. I've remembered this from previous times I was guided or told, or the outcome of something. You memorized it, and then that becomes rigid thinking. Again, anytime I say something or talk about something specific, it typically will have both sides of everything, right? It's going to be the good, the bad, the pro, and the con. There's just going to be more variables that I try to bring to light, but for more direct purposes, I'll try to manage that a little bit better, in the sense that I want to be able to deliver, what I really want to deliver in the conversation. So then you get to listen to the horses scream. Okay. All right. So physical maturity in its sense, and I'll go ahead and focus on one for today. I wake up regularly, very early, to ensure that I get my time in for physical nourishment, like exercise, taking care of myself, proactively doing something to better my body in the way that it functions, not just aesthetics. Because I'm not an advocate for superficial effort or shallow intent when it comes to something. So, compounding the functions of the body with the aesthetics, fine, but understand what functions you want with your body. So mine is, at this stage of my life, realizing that I have what they've referred to, or what I've heard referred to as old man strength. Now I'm exploring what that is, what that's like, and it's very interesting to be a specific age, and your idea about how your body will perform is that you diminish in performance after 40. You would think that you're going to be weaker than you were in your 30s, and then weaker than you were in your 20s, and less your ability to recover, things like that. I don't really notice much about the recovery side of things at my age, being 44 years old. But the physical abilities and function, is my strength is actually shot up through the roof. And it's fascinating, because you would think it'd be diminishing, especially as testosterone reduces as you get older. So, but condition for that, condition for whatever it is your body needs to mature towards. For me, I like to have functionality, strength, and agility. Don't want to be rigid. I like to be highly functional in any situation so that I have abilities to, fare better in those situations physically, whether that be defense or if it be, a challenge that I want to put myself through, climb a rock wall or something. But you have to understand exactly what you want your body to do. If you just want it for looks, it's really hard to maintain that. And the longer you push that effort, the more likely you are to change your personality into something that becomes more of a cliche, if you will. You get that egotistical gym mentality, or highlight a body part and then attach self-worth to that particular body part. In a sense, it's outside of healthy balance. Healthy balance would be looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking to yourself, wow, I've come a bit of a ways, I can see my progress, visually see that things are changing, see that your body's losing weight or building muscle, whatever your conditioning efforts are. And it's the affirmation of that work, and the justification for the effort, clarification of the intent, and it reinforces what you're doing. So it's not harmful to, look in the mirror and check yourself out. I'm not qualifying that as the egotistical negative. Egotistical negative would be the, I've got these amazing biceps, and then there's an association with the biceps and who they are as value and self-worth. And when we're expressing to the world who we are, very few people like to be known for one single thing. If somebody's very wealthy, well, if they're known to be wealthy and they're constantly surrounded by conversations of wealth and no other value, then that becomes something that can become that they resent. Stop talking to me about this. I'm saturated with it. Physical body, you're in amazing shape. You keep going through that and keep hearing it. It can get to the point that it kind of turns you off a little bit towards people. In the earlier stages of that, accomplishment, you might be, satisfied by it. You might be joyful of hearing it. But on the latter side of it, if you've been there for long enough, it can turn into something else. There's more about me than just my physical body. I've got a mind too. You hear this a lot, at least you used to hear this a lot, with women in dating. You're like, I'm a lot more than a body, and those kind of things. And we've had a big social movement where really a lot of people are like, yeah, it's just something you heard more often because you heard it on television and broadcast, where people would gripe about the fact that they're treated for a particular asset. So when I get into these conversations like this, I'm just more or less highlighting what I mean by having that egotistical body alignment, where you're like, oh yeah, I look good and I know it. Well, how well does that turn somebody else on in the relationship? And I don't necessarily mean sexually, although it does happen too, but how frequently does that actually excite them about wanting to be closer and know this person that is very vested in their physical attribute? You really don't typically try to make best friends with somebody who's so superficial that that's their thing. That's the one thing they really want to focus on. To get to know anything else about them seems to be challenging or uncomfortable. Although I will say that I've never met someone who's not, that doesn't have some sort of dynamic values. It just may not be well developed in other areas and overdeveloped in one. So we do need, though, the people in the human race, in our species, we do need our outliers, the ones that will have specific attributes that exceed that of the average person, that we like Olympics and things like that. We like to see those things, but we like to see those things with balance in other areas, not something that is developed in one, and therefore they're not. There's really little to no appreciation for who they are beyond that. So we like that, to see the high level of expertise in one area, which is consistency and development. Then you have your predispositions based off of your genetics and your early fundamental values that you really have little to no, you actually have no control over. The way your parents treat you, the way your community or your parents' community treats you, things like that all have a fundamental value you can't control. Then there's the ones that you can control, that you have memory recollection of, and you can do something with those typically. So, I'm kind of going on a bit here when I started on physical, but I start talking about other aspects and attributes, but continue to hold that there, right? Imagine being the child of some significant bodybuilder, And actually, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good example. He has two sons, and they are complete opposites of one another. One followed the path of his father, the other went another route. You know? So that'll give you an idea about the values, at the fundamental things that you can change, and then there are things that you can't. And there's going to be reasons why Arnold's other son, the one that is not in shape, or in athletic shape, if you will, why he chose that path when he had such an opportunity in front of him by having the world's most famous bodybuilder be his father. So the physical body has so many different variables that you can condition it for. Golf, sports of all types. Golfers are elite athletes, but there are a lot of elite athletes. So just to get that stuff out there, just know that the physical body has its maturity value, and yeah, we got a world to work on, so we'll do it one piece at a time. I'll be on again tomorrow. I'm at my destination, so I will chat with you guys later. Again, this is Chad Everett Broshears. Thanks for tuning in. Let's make a difference. See ya. Come on.